Hello, awesome students. This is Mr. Luckenbill for another edition of our YouTube channel discussions. This time with my co-host, Hannah Joel Luckenbill. Say hi, Hannah. Say hi. Hi. Okay, that was hi. We're going to talk tonight about the election of 1860 and give you the opportunity to get some notes in so we can focus on the significance in class. This is my son, Matthew. Say hi, Matthew.
Hey.
Hey, okay, go sit down,
Hey,
please.
Goobus.
Okay, sit down, please. Thank you. So, the election of 1860 is really what I like to call the powder keg that sets off the country at this time. All of the things that we've been focused on so far in this chapter, in this unit, have largely been things that just imagine set in a huge powder keg. And the election of 1860 is the thing that just sets off the powder keg. It's the spark that just blows the whole thing up, the whole thing meaning our country. Because by 1860, the country is no longer interested in compromise. They're no longer interested in trying to work out our problems. We're beyond that. We might have been able to do that in 1850. We're not ready to do that anymore in 1860. Tensions are high, and unfortunately, both parties have to figure out who they're going to nominate for president. So we're going to start the story here with the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party was the party that was supposed to win the election of 1860. The Republican Party was still a party that was only catering to northern states. The Democratic Party is the party that at this point is supposed to win elections because they're getting support from both parts of the country. However, the Democratic Party was so divided at this point, there was just no way they were going to find a candidate to please everybody. As you see on this slide, when the Democrats met in the spring of 1860, there was automatically two camps that broke into this. I mean, a political party that was supposed to get along, there was one side that wanted to protect slavery and protect the expansion of slavery, and the other side, the North, that was still grasping onto popular sovereignty. They were trying to, Matthew, go sit down. They were trying to still hold on to this notion that letting the people of an area choose, despite bleeding Kansas and all the issues that happened there, was still a good idea. And unable to agree on anything, by the end of that convention, literally both sides just said, this isn't going to work. The southern states, southern Democrats in these southern states walked out of the convention and said, you know what? We don't want popular sovereignty. We're going to pick our own candidate. So the Democratic Party says, we're out. And they literally divide, and they have their own separate conventions. The Southern Democrats nominate a guy named John C. Breckinridge, who you see in the top right of this slide. He was a Kentuckian who was a promoter of slavery expansion. So it should surprise nobody that the Southern Democrats wanted somebody that wanted slavery to expand to new areas, like New Mexico, like Utah, like Nebraska, wherever. The Northern Democrats go with the popular sovereignty guy. Despite the fact that he's not the most popular guy in the world, they go with Stephen Douglas, thinking that maybe, just maybe, we can get this guy to get enough electoral votes to win the election and keep the country together. Unfortunately, that's not going to work. Another party springs up at this time, really out of nowhere, for the sole purpose of trying to compromise. This is called the Constitutional Union Party. This is a party that should show you that people at the time period saw what was about to happen, and they were trying to do everything they could to keep it from happening. This was a party that said, we don't care if slavery is going to expand. We don't care about popular sovereignty. We just want the United States of America, the country that's been together for 80 years at this point, to continue to be the United States of America. We want to do everything in our power to keep this country together. They nominate a guy named John Bell. He's a Tennessean. He's a slaveholder. But once again, that's not the point of the Constitutional Union Party. The point of the Constitutional Union Party is to make this thing work. Thank you, Hannah. So now we have three candidates. We have Southern Democratic candidate John C. Breckinridge, who is a promoter of the expansion of slavery. We've got Northern Democratic candidate Stephen Douglas, who is a promoter of popular sovereignty. We've got Constitutional Union candidate John Bell, who just wants to compromise. I know, I'm hilarious. And now we get to the Republican Party. What do you got, Matthew?
I just want to say Bubsy.
Okay, I'm trying to teach here. I know it's, difficult, but we're trying to get this done.
Very cool.
Thank you very much. Hold on, my dog's eating something. Sorry about that. Last but not least, we have the Republican Party. This party that was formed just 6 years before now seems to have an opportunity. Because the Democratic Party is officially divided and they're no longer a guarantee to win enough electoral votes in the North and the South, the Democrats are struggling. The Republicans see an opportunity to pounce. All of a sudden, it looks like the Republicans have a chance to win this election. Their original favorite, according to this slide, was the most famous Republican of the time named William H. Seward. He was a New Yorker, somebody who, once again, if you're from New York, there's a good chance you're going to win a lot of electoral votes. But the Republicans knew that William H. Seward was an extreme abolitionist. He was totally against slavery in all forms. And the Republicans knew that if this guy wins the election, which he probably wouldn't because he was so radically against slavery, if he wins the election, the South would be out. Southern states would secede from the Union right away because this guy obviously was going to do everything he could to end slavery. Instead, at the convention, the Republicans go with Abraham Lincoln. Perhaps you've heard of him before. He's somebody who became a household name in a lot of contexts because of the Lincoln-Douglas debate. People knew who he was, and even though he wasn't overly a successful politician at this point, he was more of the moderate voice of the Republican Party. He was somebody who was against the expansion of slavery, which is what the party stood for, but he never stood there and said, we need to end slavery now. The Republicans thought that if this guy would win because he had enough appeal and maybe the math would work out to help him get enough electoral votes because the Democrats could split the vote amongst themselves, each other, so to speak, maybe he can become president and maybe at the end of the day, the country stays together because Lincoln isn't such a radical voice. So once again in review, we've got Southern Democratic candidate John C. Breckinridge in favor of the expansion of slavery. We've got popular sovereignty guy, Northern Democrat Stephen Douglas. We've got constitutional union, keep the country together at all costs, John Bell. And we've got Abraham Lincoln, the Illinois Senate candidate, who is against the expansion of slavery, but has never said on the record that he would end slavery immediately. And at the end of the day, the election comes around, and drum roll, please. What happens is very complicated, which we're going to cover in class here a little bit, but let's get some notes down. Results of the election on the bottom of your page. Bell and Breckinridge, both Southerners, really split the Southern vote. Some Southern states go for Bell. Some Southern states go for Breckinridge. Exactly. Stephen Douglas gets thwomped by Lincoln. And because of that, Lincoln is able to win every northern state, except for New Jersey. Is anyone surprised that New Jersey went for the slave guys? Lincoln wins the election by getting over half or the majority of electoral votes, despite only getting 39% of the country to vote for him. Lincoln is able to get just enough electoral votes to win. Here's what the electoral map looks like. If you look at the blue states go for Lincoln. As you can see, these northern states win and go big for the anti-slavery expansion guy. Shouldn't be a surprise. Stephen Douglas wins Missouri and New Jersey, big schwhoop. And as you can see here, Breckinridge wins the Deep South, like the Cotton Belt, and Bell wins this middle part of the South that were still in favor of compromise. But because the votes got split up amongst them, Lincoln was able to sweep the North and win just enough electoral votes to get the majority to win the election. So despite the fact that he was not a popular presidential candidate, and despite the fact that he only got 39% of the vote, think about that, only 4 out of every 10 Americans that voted in that election voted for the guy that won. He enters the presidency a very unpopular person, and the spark to the powder keg. Boom! That is the end of our conversation. I hope you were able to get your notes down, and we will pick up this story in class. Can you say bye, Hannah? Say bye. Can you say goodbye? Bye. Bye. Thank you. Can you say bye? Come on over. Say see you later.
See you later. Bye-bye, Bugsy.